I'm not worried about the core values and the core culture of HB disappearing because we moved to Wilson Boulevard. It is going to be different, there's no doubt. But there have been differences before.
Our number one goal was to make sure that we weren't ever getting less than what we have now. And so if we have a black box program that's super important to us here at HB, we wanted to make sure that our black box was at least as good as the black box that we have here. And the same with theater and music spaces.
The performing arts is kind of a wonderful feature of the HB Woodlawn program. We have so many students that are involved in this fine art program or another. So we wanted to be sure that the spaces of our new building were representative of the fine arts participation at our school.
And we tried really hard to make sure that the things that are really important to us as a community at HB Woodlawn would be able to continue in this new space. So, you know, to me, one of the things that's really important is intentionally creating time and space for students and teachers to interact outside of class.
We were very forceful, informed, and I believe effective advocates for making sure that the new facility would support the instructional needs of the students and what was needed by the administration and the staff to do their job.
On the other hand, there are some realities of this whole process that are larger than any singular member of the BLPC.
At times I felt like a decision had already been made and we were just being used as a vehicle to provide an indicator of public engagement when really there wasn't a whole lot of wiggle room for discussion.
Decisions were made without the support of the BLPC, including especially decisions about parking. When HB moves into its new home, it will be the only school in the county that has absolutely no field space and absolutely no on-site parking.
So much of the talk, starting from APS staff through, down to us, was about, yeah, but it's going to be a great facility. It's going to have, underground parking. It was definitely put out there as a selling point, like it was anticipated it would happen. And the biggest disappointment is that the parking situation is very unresolved based on what I know today.
APS had experts come in and do studies, but the studies made assumptions that I think are not accurate for our community. For instance, they studied what residents who live within a certain distance of the site do and how they get to work, and most of them take public transportation. But it's clear that most teachers do not and cannot take public transportation. When Metro breaks down, you can't say, well, I'll just stay late today if you're a teacher and you missed your first 2 classes.
We were coming back here and reporting to our colleagues about this, and our colleagues were like, I could take mass transit to the Wilson building. By car, I live 10 minutes away. By mass transit, because of the shape of the bus and metro lines in this county, I live an hour away.
It was a critically important topic to cover and to really think about how parking fits into the new environment and how we make sure that parking is there and available to teachers to make sure that it's meeting their needs, but also to parents who are doing drop-off or pickups or sort of temporary faculty who come in and teach for short periods of time.
And I think it's going to put a damper on parents being able to come to the school for meetings with teachers and attend student performances. The parking situation in Roslyn is very difficult. It's not like you can just park in the neighborhood for free, which you can do at other schools.
It's definitely going to be harder, and I'm afraid that it's going to affect the decisions of some families about, once they get in, as to whether they're actually going to come because of the transportation challenges.
A core part of our program here is student autonomy.
HB lets kids direct their own black box shows here, and it gives them so much freedom to do what they want. It gives them such an outlet for creativity.
If they want to stay later than most staff to build a set, or to shoot a film in the abandoned school, or just to sit and edit, we almost never say no. I'm worried about a lot of that going away in Roslyn.
I've been let out of play rehearsal at like 11. Once my dad forgot to pick me up and I was at the school till 12, and like here it was safe, I felt fine. And just maybe in a different area people won't feel as safe to like let their kids stay late.
There's a thought that, you know, it's not as safe of a place for us to be, and we'll have to keep all the doors locked all the time, and we're going to have to restrict access to how late people can be working in the black box, for example. Being in Roslyn isn't going to be a safety problem. It's going to be a really powerful location for a school to be in.
I believe the students are up for the task. Like, they're up to the challenge of being more responsible and managing their time better, but it will not be the same.
Because of where we are now, I think that integrating between the suburban campus and the urban campus is going to be a hard transition for the first set of kids.
When I'm a senior, we will be moving into the building and it'll be my senior year. And I've heard that we might not be able to paint on the walls.
It's going to be a good question as to whether or not we just go in there and start writing on the walls, you know, since it's a new building. I hope we will. I think that's a way to take ownership.
I think senior quote's like something you put a lot of thought into from the time you're like in sixth grade. You're like, I can't wait until I write my quote on the wall. And it's just such a thing at HB, like getting to leave your mark on the building and the community.
I've been thinking about my senior quote since I was a sixth grader. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I've been thinking about it. So I really, really wanna get a senior quote up somewhere in one of the HB schools.
My senior quote was, "To whom much is given, much is expected," and then I signed it, "Future Dr. Sam Jazzo."
Did you really?
Yeah.
Mine was like, life is a canvas, put lots of paint on it, and then something about DART, which is what I was involved with when I was here. It meant a lot to me then, and I think it still does now.
My senior quote's going to be all caps. It's going to be really big. It's just going to say, I love you.
Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot less of writing a quote. Like, most of us just wrote our names. Mine just says Casey number 4, which was my number in basketball and soccer.
A favorite senior quote? I think it's by Michael Thomas. It just says, "Stay sweet."
The fact that the senior quotes are going to be gone means that there's going to be a lot of lost wisdom. It represents the thoughts and the knowledge of generations before, and that's kind of what makes HB great.
I agree, but I also think the HB community is so much more than the quotes, and I think all the students are moving and the teachers are moving, and that sense of community will also move, and I think HB and its fashion and nature will come up with some other creative way to build community in this new building.
We're going to have a vertical culture. We're going to be 5 stories. So that's going to change things to a certain extent. And we're not going to have the play fields that we have now. That's going to be very significant.
So at first we found ourselves fighting for the field space, and we were like, there's got to be a way. There's a little Arlington County Park right next to it, and you could just extend the field or just flatten all the way there, and then we'll have a regulation Frisbee field. And little by little it became evident that no matter which way we oriented the building on this weird little plot of land in Roslyn, there was no way to get a regulation Frisbee field.
Schools need outdoor space, and while this school may have outdoor rooftop space, assuming that the funding is there, that's not the same as having a field.
We emerged from the process of the BLPC with already less than a regulation size field for Ultimate. The more recent decision to put the firehouse on the back of the HB property is frankly an insult to the whole process.
We have to make deals with developers in order for education to happen on a square foot of land in Roslyn, Virginia. It's worth more as real estate than it is as education real estate. We should land swap to somewhere where we can afford like surface parking like a normal school and playing fields like a normal school. We are a normal school. We're just small.
One of the things is that it's temporary. I think the noise and things like that are definitely things we're going to have to figure out. Fire stations are neighbors with all kinds of people across Arlington, and they will be able to like not turn their sirens on right when they pull out of the fire station, and they'll try to be as respectful as possible.
It means that all PE classes will have to be indoors all the time, and it means that the students won't have any outdoor space for after-school sports.
Ultimate Frisbee is such a core part of HB, this community. It's such a great reflection of the values that this school represents, which I love so much, both as a parent and as a member of the broader community. Having Ultimate fit into the new school is so critical, and that's frankly why I wanted to be on the PLPC in the first place, because my kids are so invested in Ultimate.
In my experience, having an HB Woodlawn team like really brings us together, and I mean it's crazy how what percentage of students play Ultimate, and I think it's because we all feel together.
If they force kids to go back to their home schools to play Frisbee, I think that was something that everybody could really rally around here at HB, and that's going to be a huge blow to the identity of the community.
This is a challenging site to build a school on, and so there were definitely things that we asked for and wanted that we may not get. I think it took the commitment of a lot of parents and students and teachers to make sure that our voices were heard. Because of the power of those voices, the most important things are included.
Entering into a new space invites a conversation of traditions and why do we do these things, and maybe we could try something new, or since we're here, why don't we do this that's never been done before. But at the same time, I also respect the value of traditions. They help us to feel like we're the same. We're the HP Woodlawn that was on Vacation Lane, now on Wilson Boulevard.
I have like a real emotional attachment to this building. You know, I walk by my 7th grade locker every day, so I was really disappointed when we found out that we had to move.
I hope that everybody can sort of move beyond the we never wanted to move and we should be able to stay here, this is our home attitude, into like, okay, this is a great opportunity to move into a really great new home. And maybe there will be things about it that aren't perfect, but hopefully we can find a way to make them better.
What makes HB is not this building. It is 100% the people in the building.
HB is about the people, and it's the wide array of people that represent the spirit of HB. So even though the physical building will not be here anymore, the spirit of HB will be easily moved to the new building.
All of my colleagues and students and all of the students for the last 15 years that I've known here are what make this place special. So those people are all going to be on Wilson Boulevard too.